Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk all about glow-in-the-dark spray paint. So you can use it, for me, I love it for my Halloween projects, but you can use it year-round for other projects as well. Outdoor projects that you want to glow in the dark are perfect for the Rustoleum glow-in-the-dark spray paint. Now this video is sponsored by Rustoleum, however all projects and opinions are my own. Today I'm going to use this paint on some pumpkins as well as some wood cutout ghosts that would be like yardsticks for Halloween. Now, like I said, you could use this on whatever project you have in mind. Just use the tips and tricks in this video to make sure you're using it correctly, because you might notice that everything in the frame right now looks white. That is because you need a white base coat when you use this glow-in-the-dark paint in order to give it the optimum amount of glow. But if I turn the lights out, you would really see that these projects glow in the dark and would make an amazing display for Halloween outdoors. So now let's take a look at that glow-in-the-dark spray paint as well as the other supplies we're going to use to make these two projects. The supplies you're going to need are as follows. So you'll need the Rustoleum glow-in-the-dark spray paint, and if your object that you are putting the glow-in-the-dark on is not white, you will need a white primer. This makes the glow-in-the-dark really pop and stand out on your surface. So I'm using a Rustoleum Painter's Touch primer in white. So you will need this to paint whatever you're using the glow-in-the-dark on white before you add the glow-in-the-dark top coat. Then I'm going to be using vinyl in a couple different ways. If you put vinyl over the glow-in-the-dark and you're going to use it outdoors, I would recommend a sealer. So this is Varathane polyurethane. It's a water-based polyurethane sealer and works really, really well. The projects I'm going to do are a pumpkin, and the ones I'm using are already white. However, you could use real pumpkins, fake pumpkins, any kind of pumpkins, and just paint them with the primer. Then I'm also going to do some little ghosts, a couple different versions of this, and I actually cut them on my Glowforge Aura. So I will have the free file for this, so it's the file for the cutout of the ghosts as well as the little faces I'm going to add to them, and I will have it for free in the description below this video. And then on those, I'm gonna add like some stakes so you could put them around your yard. And then for the pumpkins, I also recommend some wood skewers. Yes, just what's in your kitchen. I'm gonna show you why in a few minutes. Then I use my Cricut machine to cut some vinyl. Both some faces for my ghosts, as well as some pumpkin faces to put on the pumpkins themselves as like a masking. And I'll show you how both methods work, and you can choose whatever method works for you. For these, I cut them with my Cricut machine, and then I used a weeding tool to weed around the outside. You'll probably also want a scraper when it comes to application, as well as some transfer tape. Now for like the faces on the pumpkins, you might not need the transfer tape. However, with the little ghosts, you might want them. So now let's take a look at using glow-in-the-dark paint for all your Halloween and other crafts. So let's talk about painting the pumpkins first. If possible, remove the stem from the pumpkin. And for most of these foam pumpkins, that's possible. Of course, if you're using a real pumpkin, it would not be. So I would probably just kind of use some painter's tape to mask it off. But if you can remove it, it's just much easier. Then what I do for the smaller versions of the pumpkins is I use just a skewer out of the kitchen, and I put it in the hole where the stem was, and just push it in. And now you can kind of hold it by the skewer to paint it. And then you can add the skewer itself to like a foam block to allow these to dry. So it just makes painting really easy, so you can paint the entire surface all at once and allow it to dry. So now this is already white. If it was not, I would paint with the primer first. So you always want whatever you're adding the glow-in-the-dark paint to be white. So you could put this primer on first if you needed to. I already purchased these pumpkins white, so I am just going to use the glow-in-the-dark paint over the top of these. Now what I'm going to do for this version of the project is use a mask. So what I want to do is put one of these faces on, and I just kind of size them to fit. And because I'm using this just as masking, it does not matter what color this vinyl is. It is removable vinyl. However, I don't even think that matters. So I'm not even going to use any transfer tape. I'm just going to start adding the vinyl. And with the pumpkin, you want to be sure you work the vinyl from one edge to the other so that you get down in all the nooks and crannies, and then press it down as much as possible. Then just repeat with your entire face. So this one is ready to paint. Do make sure that you don't put the vinyl on upside down because you've taken the stem out, so treat the skewer like a stem, add your vinyl, press it down well. I'm gonna repeat this process with the rest of my pumpkins, and we're gonna head out and add the glow-in-the-dark paint over the top. For the ghosts, I cut these out of like a plywood on my Glowforge, so I will need to paint them white first. So I'm gonna add the white primer over the top, then the glow-in-the-dark. Now, if you're gonna use these outdoors, I would probably recommend doing both sides as well as the edges, just to protect the entire ghost. Be sure to shake the can vigorously for about 1 minute before starting to paint the ghost white. Hold it about 10 to 16 inches from the surface and spray in a steady back and forth motion. You can apply 2 or more light coats a few minutes apart. So here's the unpainted ghost, and here's the ghost painted with just a coat of the white primer paint. So this is a couple coats of that white primer, and you want to allow this to dry completely. They recommend about 24 hours before adding the glow-in-the-dark over the top. When using the glow-in-the-dark paint, you want to be sure to shake the can well for at least 1 minute and shake often during use. Hold your can about 10 to 16 inches from the surface and spray in a steady back and forth motion. You do want to kind of overlap each stroke. If you're painting the pumpkins with the glow-in-the-dark paint, and you have that skewer inside, you can go ahead and do the entire pumpkin. If you're painting larger pumpkins, you may have to do like the top and the sides and then come back and do the bottom later. You can apply 2 or more light coats a few minutes apart, so do these in very light coats. You may not see a color change, so keep up with where you've painted and where you have not. This does dry to the touch in 15 minutes, and you can handle it in 1 to 2 hours, but you do want to allow it to fully dry about 24 hours. So just wanted to show you a color difference first of all. So this, I did not put any vinyl on these. This is the plain white pumpkin, and this is with the glow-in-the-dark over the top, and this one has dried completely for 24 hours. So you may be able to tell that the glow-in-the-dark is slightly more off-white. So it will get an off-white appearance, but it can be difficult to tell where you are, what areas you painted, what areas you haven't. So you will need to pay attention when you're spray painting these. To finish off the pumpkins, you'll want to remove the vinyl or the masking from the front, and you may not even be able to see where this is because I just showed you that the pumpkins are white and then they're kind of an off-white. You can barely see where the face is, but that's okay because you're going to be able to see it when it glows, which is the point. Then we're going to remove this and add the stem back in. If you added painter's tape to the stem instead, you would just remove that painter's tape. So I'm going to repeat for all of my pumpkins. For the ghost, I have a layered vinyl design. I'm going to start with the white that goes on the eyes. We're just going to burnish those. Peel back the backing paper, and then we'll just add those to the eyes themselves. Then we want to go ahead and pick up the eyes and the mouth. And then we just want to add these cheeks into place. Burnish those well. Peel this off. And now this can go on your fully dried and cured ghost. So we'll just add the ghost face, burnish it down, and then just peel this transfer tape back off and burnish the vinyl down well. Now I did mention sealing this, so if you're going to use these outdoors, I would wait about 24 hours and do a couple of coats of the polyurethane over the top of this vinyl, just to ensure it stays in place a really long time, even while being outdoors in the elements. Also for these ghosts, if you're going to put them in your yard, you might want to add a stake to them, either with like wood glue, a permanent wood glue, or some staples, nails, screws, anything to attach the stake itself to your wood cutout ghost. Alright, so the top tips and tricks for using glow-in-the-dark spray paint. First, start with a good white base. Whether you use the Rustoleum primer, like I did with the ghosts, or that you start with a white base like these white pumpkins and just add the glow-in-the-dark on top. Starting with a white base will make the glow-in-the-dark really pop. Then make sure the glow-in-the-dark is even coats. You do want even coats across the surface. You might even take it outside, spray paint it, bring it into like a dark closet, see if it's glowing everywhere, see if you missed any spots. Like I said, with going over the white, it is hard to tell where you've spray painted. So you might bring it in, see if you've missed any spots, take it back outside, spray paint it some more in order to get a full coat coverage on all the surfaces. Then pick a method. So I showed you sort of some pumpkins that I'd sprayed all the way around. Then I showed you some that I masked with vinyl with some faces on the front. And then for the ghost, I added the vinyl afterwards with a little face. So 3 different methods. The ghosts look cute in the daylight. The pumpkins, I like them in the daylight just looking like they're a white pumpkin. And then once it turns dark at night, they start glowing and that face really pops out. So I personally liked that method for the pumpkins, and then the cute little face on the ghosts with the vinyl afterwards, so they look cute in the daytime. That was my personal preference. However, you could mix and match the techniques I've showed in this video to make your own glow-in-the-dark creations for Halloween or any time of the year. So if this video helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about glow-in-the-dark spray paint or anything else we've talked about in this video, feel free to drop down in the comment section, ask away. Then if you want to know where to purchase the paints I've used or get the files I've used for the pumpkin faces or the ghosts, they will be in the description below this video. So scroll down and click show more below the video if you're watching on computer. If you're watching on mobile, click the arrow to expand the description, swipe up in the video, click more below the video, a few different ways depending on how you're watching. You should see a list of links. Click those that you need, either to purchase the spray paint or to get the files. Then if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.